Andy, why don't we start with you on this what Douglas was just bringing up, this question about ballots that received after Election Day. But was that allowed?
Well, it was allowed by the state Supreme Court of Pennsylvania. There's a legal issue. You know, it's interesting, Dana, there's all these issues across these different states. A lot of them are going to be very fact-intensive. This is one of these bright-line legal issues. It's either constitutional or it's not. Did the state Supreme Court of Pennsylvania have the authority to change the state legislature's rules that it had set by statute for the election? So that's an either yes or no. But, you know, before you even get there, you have to make sure that it would actually make a difference. So yeah. For all the talk about, you know, the potential for fraud and whether this is legal or not, if only a real trickle of votes actually came in the last 3 days, and it turns out that it's not enough that when we ultimately see the total, it'll make a difference, then, you know, you could say that it happened. You can argue whether it was legal or not, but, you know, bottom line, you're not going to get very far with a claim that couldn't change the outcome.
I see the picture that you're painting there. Harry, how do you see it?
Yeah, I agree with Andy. It's got to be dispositive before the court would take it up. I also agree it's a discrete legal claim, but it's the only one out there. It's a very, very hard dynamic for Trump now, because the basic rule of thumb of these things is you try to get your guy ahead and then stop. But it's going in the other direction. The ground is falling out from under Trump in all the other states, and the ragtag claims of a little problem here and observation there just aren't going to be enough to close any kind of gap. Now, in Pennsylvania, there actually, I think, are more votes than people are thinking. There are about 500,000 that were sent out that haven't come back yet. Let's say half of those do come back. That's a good chunk, but the arithmetic right now is very strong in Biden's favor, and if it continues at the 75 to 80% of the votes coming in, it won't matter, not because they are few votes, it won't matter because Biden will be ahead even without them. And in that instance, as Andy says, the court won't take it.
Andy, maybe let's zoom out from Pennsylvania, just overall, the Trump campaign legal positioning here and their narrative that they're trying to paint. Your thoughts on that?
Well, one of the things you have to always remember, Dana, is that we don't have a national election. We have 50 state elections. So when rhetorically you describe these things, you get a torrent of these things and they accumulate. And, you know, the sense that they try to create, I guess, politically is that maybe the whole process is illegitimate. And what you really have to look at is in each different discrete of the 50 states, each election, what happened, how important was it, how sure are we that it was inappropriate, and would it have made a difference? And, you know, I'm always reminded again of you know, we talk about in every trial, a criminal trial, the courts always say at the end, you know, nobody gets a perfect trial. So what you're entitled to is a fair trial, a fair process. And they'll look at each individual state and they'll see whether, if there really were improprieties, which could be hard to prove, there are always improprieties in every election, was there a critical mass of them in any state such that it taints the whole result? And that's a very high burden to fill.
All right, Andy and Harry. Harry, well, we would love to have you back because I have a feeling this is not going to be a subject that ends anytime soon. We appreciate your expertise. Thank you so much.